we were creating a story there that we didn't know anything about. We were. So that's I think that's propaganda.
Is from July 22nd. UAE creates its own rain using drones that fly into clouds and unleash electrical charges that to beat the sweltering 122-degree Fahrenheit heat. So now they're using drone technology to shock the clouds and create storms. Okay. At the same time, you have Dubai doing this as well. In the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia engaged in this.
Looking across the western United States, right? You mentioned, yes, the Oregon fire, the Bootleg fire, which is the first mega fire we have of the season. That's a fire that's over 100,000 acres. We are looking at, scientists tell us, a season like no other. We're going to see probably this kind of fire going on and on. We've spoken to scientists who say
China plans rapid expansion of weather modification efforts. Ambition to cover area more than 1.5 times the size of India. Likely a concern to the country's neighbors. Well, why would that be? Well, why would India be concerned? Cut to 7 months later, massive floods taking out hundreds of people in India. So you have
very small amounts of rainfall, but a lot of lightning. It touches down and sets off this, record-breaking dry fuel at a time when there is tremendous drought here, record temperatures, and now these big winds. And so we're looking at a naturally caused thing, something that's part of the normal life cycle of California's landscape, but it's been amplified by
HAARP coming back online. You have a new drone electrified cloud seeding program taking place in the Middle East. You have China expanding and aggressively implementing its weather modification program, which has upwards of 35,000 people involved, as well as, of course, the other various forms of weather manipulation going on continuously. And they're going to blame it all on climate change. Yes,
but it's been amplified by climate change in this case, Lindsay. But it's been amplified by climate change in this case, Lindsay. But it's been amplified by climate change in this case.
A new story comes up, they're going to latch onto it. They've already announced inner office that once the public will be open to it, we're going to start focusing mainly on climate. It's going to be our focus. Our focus was to get Trump out of office, right? Without saying it, that's what it was, right? So our next thing is going to be for climate change awareness.
Who decides that?
The head of the network,
Who's that? Is that Zucker?
Zucker, yeah. Climate change is going to be the next COVID thing for CNN. We're gonna hone in climate change awareness.
Do you think it's going to be just a lot of fear, climate?
Yeah, fear sells. Fear sells. No one ever says those things out loud.
Don't let that cake boost your head up no more. Did you hurt yourself? Eagle Scouts. Yeah?
It's all because you drive an SUV. It's all your fault. Ignore the insane weather warfare going around all around us.
One over blaming this on climate change or to deny climate change was likewise heating up fast. Joe Biden today slammed Donald Trump as a denier who's making things worse now and threatening an even deadlier future.
If you give a climate arsonist 4 more years in the White House, why would anyone be surprised if we have more America ablaze?
Today in California, to assess things for himself, Trump again blamed poor forest management, not climate change, as the key contributor to the fires.
When trees fall down after a short period of time, about 18 months, they become very dry. They become really like a matchstick. And they get up, there's no more water pouring through, and they become very, they just explode.
Later,
they see no break in sight for this because of the incredibly dry fuels.
Listen to me. Maybe this will finally be the awakening moment America needs to realize how corrupt the government is and the television media is. But Alex, it's quite raped and tortured and murdered. Yeah, that's a shocking thing, even though you already knew about it.
I do this all the time.
And it was done from the highest levels of the German government, working with the CIA and MK-Ultra. And again, that's what MK-Ultra was all about, ladies and gentlemen, was manipulating the minds of children. There was all different types of studies done. Some were given DMT, some were given LSD. We're talking thousands of hits of it. Others were given electroshock. Others were done, all sorts of experiments. And this even came out on the History Channel and Discovery Channel 25, 30 years ago. They had some good documentaries on there admitting Dr. Ewing Cameron and Dr. Jolyon West. Ran facilities in the U.S. and Canada with up to 10,000 little boys and girls in them at one time that had been taken from foster homes. In some cases, though, the CIA would put their own children in facilities for CIA medical.
You didn't have any journalistic training except CIA training. I mean,
yeah. I have no comment for you. Thanks, dude.
Why not? Operation Mockingbird? You know what that is. Official declassified program, how the CIA infiltrated the mainstream media from the higher up.
It's hard for me to complain about anything.
I understand that, and I've seen you've done a yeoman's job out there, and I think what a lot of people are wondering, because you've been there since, the thing hit pretty much soon after, is how come you were able to get through, and Harry Connick Jr. was able to get through, and Campbell Brown was able to get through, but not the National Guard? What is the
That anyone would believe that I would try to fake something or overly dramatize a disaster. This was taken 10 years ago during Hurricane Ike. On September 13, 2008, I did a 2-hour broadcast from Bridge City, Texas by Highway 62.
Fire personnel, fish and wildlife folks in boats and pickup trucks, monster trucks, taking people out of here, injured people as well. We've seen just in the last couple of minutes, a couple of cars go by with people. We don't want to put a camera in their face just out of respect for them.
As for those who think I was kneeling or faking the water level or making it look worse than it was or standing in some sort of a hole, this is an area where people had been trapped on the roofs of their homes by water. The idea that I am kneeling in water to make it look deep is frankly...
This would mean that the CIA could manipulate the news in the United States by channeling it through some foreign country. Now, we're looking at that very carefully.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to a major circulation American journal?
We do have people who submit pieces to American journals.
Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks?
This, I think, gets into the kind of getting into the details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
At CBS, we...
staff to gang rape them, and they called it a study.
That was crazy.
And again, that's what it says right here. Gang raping 30,000 children, New Yorker magazine, as a study. So I want to tell you something. They later removed this. We made a big deal about it back in the late 1990s, but then it's in other U.S. code, and I have it memorized. It's so powerful and so important, and people would really wake up when they saw this, because in one part of the code, they outlaw it. The next part of the code, they legalize it. U.S. Code Title 50, Chapter 32, 1520A, Paragraph B, said all secret...
And I'm the argument.
Yeah, we're not going to fall for a banana in the tailpipe.